Hey everyone, welcome back to Wolfman's Garage. And on this episode, let me see if I can't get my family heirloom on the road. Or at least running, movable. I can mow my lawn, is my goal today. It's a 1975 International 200 automatic. It's basically been in my family since I can remember. Ever since I was little. Actually, love for this truck started when I was a teenager. If I can find them, I'll post photos of it. But anyways, enough about that. I purchased a parts truck, a 1973 International 1210 Camper Special. I'll tell you another funny story. The guy that owned this, his father, I believe, owned it. But the guy kept driving by to buy this for parts. And I'd say, it's not for sale, I'm gonna fix it up one day. I'm one of those guys, okay? Leave me alone. Funny part is, I had a Lincoln SUV that was stolen, long story short. Got it back. Piss poor shape. Albeit I was neglecting it because of it. It blew the transmission while I was taking it out to see if it would run again. Drove it right to the scrapyard, and this was sitting there. So, did a bit of horse trading, and now I have a parts truck for this. So, anyways, let's get to it. All right, let's get this thing opened up. The hood is poached. It's doing its best impression of a square-bodied Chevy. If you know, you know. Okay. Let's see. Now, I'll show you why here in a minute. Why it's so bad. Okay. Rust and dust is in my blood. Okay. Let me show you. See here? Shine it right in there. It's got the ventilated fenders in it. This is a common problem with these from what I've read on the internet. Yeah, these rot out like, it's always the driver's side too, and every forum I've read it said that. So it's the 345 V8, obviously, with a 2-barrel Holly on it. So it, let's just say it probably gets about 7 gallons to the mile. And yeah, this hasn't ran in almost 20 years. So I'm not even sure if it's seized up or anything like that. My dad parked it years ago. Well, like I say, the last time it was out was January of 1993. It had a camper in the back of it. So Mom and Dad took it winter camping in January of 93, and I'm born in September. Okay, anyway. Let you do the math on that one, people. So, see if she's got coolant in it. And she's low. But, oh well, it's got it in there. That's all that matters. I don't think I'm going to be running this too long anyway. Because I'm pretty sure the fuel lines have rotted to the gas tank, and the gas tank I'm pretty sure has rotted itself. So, anyways, let's get the breather off. Let's have a look at that. Carburetor. The carburetor is actually in pretty decent shape. So, I mean, the choke ain't sticking. Throttle's working. So that's a plus. Something's obviously been living in here. Dirty old dirt dauber nest back there. I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts I'm gonna have to rebuild that carburetor though. We'll have to see what happens. I hope not, but I think I bought a kit for this years ago to see. But, anyways, enough of my rambling. Let's get her started. Okay. I remember getting a stern talking to for doing this when I learned to drive. And Dad was showing me my first tune-up. It was on a 69 New Yorker 4-door. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm putting the wing nut on top of the carburetor. Yes, I like to live dangerously. When you have to pull the carburetor off to pull the wing nut out of the manifold with a pair of needle nose pliers, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyways, okay. Enough of that. So, move the cleaner out of the way. Down this belt. These belts. My necklace away. So, we're going to see if she turns over. I don't have the appropriate socket size, or I would have checked. Oh boy. Shine her down on the belt. Well, let's see if the crank pulley is going to turn. Okay, let's see. Crank turns. We're in what? Oh boy. Is she seized? Oh, we got a little bit of movement. Oh yeah, she's turning. I think she's... I bet you she's probably stuck in a compression stroke. But I am confident she's going to start. I don't know about the purple truck though. They're the same engine. Just this one has a 2-barrel carburetor. I don't know what that one has. I bought it and it's been sitting since. All right. I'm going to have a look under the distributor cap and see what we're dealing with here. Actually, that's in pretty good shape. Not real corrosion under there. Honestly, the electrodes are pretty solid. No cracks in the cap or anything like that. It's actually in pretty good shape. Now these wires have been chewed on. Let's see, is this a point system? I can't remember. Rotor's good. I bought a new rotor anyway, but that's got a little bit of wear, but worst case scenario, I clean that up with an emery cloth or something, but I do have a tune-up kit. Okay, so I think this is electronic ignition. Not gonna lie. Yeah, it is. Being a 75, I suppose, yeah. Yeah, it would be, now that I think about it. Alright, so now that we know what's going on, I don't even know if the starter's locked up on it or not. I hope not. Come on now, there we go. Ow. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some 2-stroke gas down it, just because it lubricates everything and cleans it all up. I'm going to try to fill the float bowl right here and see if I can get it to, like I'll fill it through the vent tube, just because I want to see if it's gonna, that way it's not a dry diaphragm in there, like the, what's it called, accelerator pump is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to see if I can do that. Anyways, I'll be right back with a can. Alright, so we're gonna pour some mixed gas down the vent tube. Dang it. She's bubbling, that's a good sign. Meaning it's going past the... getting more in the carburetor than I am in the float, I think. Okay, now that I got that kind of soaking, let's actually put a little bit more in there and see what happens. Okay, so that is gonna soak up and see what happens with the diaphragm and everything. So I'm gonna go on the run for a battery. Okay, so got the old dime trick. Got the old blue nose spacer in there. Canadian, if you know what blue nose means. Positive. I'm positive this is gonna work. Okay, that's on there. We'll move the breather out of the way. Now, I think that'll do. Follow me to the interior, see what happens. Got a bunch of goodies in here. Oh, I'll explain why that steering wheel's in here later. But here, let's see what we got. Old compressor, old tire compressor, junk, old snow brush, make a good hood prop. Tent pegs, I don't know. Throw them over there. So the steering wheel is off the family Jeep. It's an old Wagoneer we had, and I'll explain that later, the relevance to that being in here. Okay, come on in the cab with me here. Oh, I'm not sitting in there, that's gross. Smells in here. All right, let's see if she'll start up, shall we? Let's see. Ready? Let's hope she's in the park. Oh, come on now. Okay, I'm thinking I didn't fill that float bowl enough. Let's see. Oh, I gotta sit in this, gross. Okay. Ew. Okay, here we go, ready? Okay, she turns over. That's a good sign. Let's try again, shall we? Let's try filling that up. Okay. Some right down the throat of her. Right down the throat. Ha! Oh, come on now. Ooh. Well, she barked off right good with a slop of gas down the carburetor. Well, dang. Getting pretty good at this. She had a ketchup bottle. That's probably overdoing it, but hey. I think she's got a vacuum leak. Hey, check out the gauges. We got oil pressure. Alternators. We got oil pressure. Alternator is alternatoring. Hey, that's good though, she's working, supposedly, according to that. I'll have to get my multimeter out. So, I've taken my trusty Leatherman, never leave home without it, and cut the top off of an old washer fluid cap I had laying around. And found this laying in the dirt. Eesh. So now I'm going to take a hose and place it on the end of the fuel pump and see if it'll start. All right, so here's our hose I ran through. I went in the garage and dug through my scrap pile of hoses. So we'll stick that in there, and yeah, it works. So I'm gonna fill that up with gas. I've tied the washer fluid jug to the upper rad hose. Don't do this, please, for the love of God, do not do this. It is very dangerous, but I got it tucked out of the way of my fan, and it's not going to be running very long. I'm just trying to keep it from, well, you know, just not much room to work here, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So, anyways, here we go. now that I have the fuel tank, I guess you'd say, let's start with slopping some down the carburetor. All right, you guys might as well just stay out here and watch. Okay, keep an eye out for me. Cool. Put it right at the carburetor. Just watch out. Okay?
Yep.
Don't be freaky yell. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I dare say she barked off pretty quick there. So I'm gonna let it run. Oh, I forgot to mention I did check to see if there was oil in it. There is oil in it. Oh boy, shun that quick. Okay, so get the old heart rate down a bit. The vent tube is obviously the float is sticking. The needle is sticking in the float, which is causing it to puke out the vent tube. So I have a different plan for that. I'm going to probably spray some PB Blaster to hopefully loosen up the valve and then tap it with a hammer. I'm hoping that'll get the needle to go down, but other than that, she fired right up and running good. Now there's a bit of an exhaust leak, that tick 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 tick. I thought it was, I can't really hear anything else. I'm very hard of hearing, to be honest with you. But the clattering was an exhaust leak. I saw a puff of smoke out of the back of the manifold on that side over here. So I'm assuming it's going to need a manifold gasket on that side, but that's no big deal. So, okay, I'll soak that and we'll see what happens next. All right, new old trusty PB Blaster. Ooh, that stuff stinks. Smells good though, in a weird way. And to be ahead of the game, I might as well soak the bolts holding the carburetor on, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to rebuild this. There, give her all a good soaking. Won't hurt nothing. All right, everyone. That was a couple hours wasted. Not wasted, I should say. More of a... didn't go the way I expected. So, turns out I ordered the wrong carburetor kit when I ordered it like years ago. I should have done the research, but anyways, I still pulled the carburetor apart. I was very careful to save the gaskets, to keep them from tearing and everything like that. I was very gentle with it. I cleaned up the needle. The needle was stuck, and it was, I'll show you a picture if I remember. It was full of sediment in the float, and it was just, I cleaned it right out, blew it out with clean and everything. So I'm just gonna flood the, I'm just gonna pump some gas and we'll see what happens. Now, I am having trouble with getting the choke linkage back together, but that's fine, it's warm enough anyway. So, let's see what happens. Just gonna pump it a few more times. Yeah. Yeah, there's not enough fuel in the float yet. Unless it drank that 2 liters of gas. Stay tuned. I think it drank all that fuel. That's how bad on fuel this thing is.
Sounds like it wants to start.
Sounds like the float's dry. Alright, so I mentioned the Jeep steering wheel. Read the key. Can you see that? It says Jeep. Well, the column, the key, the lock cylinder was seized, so we had an old Jeep Wagoneer laying around, and lo and behold, pretty well the same steering column. So we took the guts out of it and put it into here. Anyways, see what happens, shall we? Idle works now too. Cold. Just let her run and warm up. Friggin' stinks in here. Our steering works. Okay. Whoa! The brakes are a bit sticky. What was that going bang? I'm just gonna see it. Pretty strong transmission. Call it mosquito control. I need to adjust the idle screws. There she goes. See if she moves forward. Godspeed. Not sure if it's sitting in a hole or the brakes are sticky. All right, it's been a few rain delays, a couple days later. Now we're gonna do the plugs and wires. So stay tuned for that. I'll show you the spark plugs and how they look. Keep in mind they haven't been done in like 35, 40 years. So we'll see what happens. Now, why aren't you cooperating? Yeah, that one's pretty loose. Okay. Oh, why are you loose too? That's concerning. I was like, yeah. Smells like fuel, definitely not going to its full spark, very carboned up, but that's okay. I got more in the truck. Anyways, Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to remember the firing order in this thing. I've looked it up before, I just can't remember. Now. That one's got oil on it. Might have bad rings on that cylinder, I'm not sure. Hasn't been running very long, so the rings might just need to smarten themselves up again, kind of come back. There could also be a rust ridge on the piston, so the rings will have to scrape the rust off if it isn't too bad. I mean, it is running, it isn't locked up or anything. So, okay. I'll change these plugs and then we'll do the wires. Okay, I decided to go with Champions. These are the N9YCs. These are the, I didn't even think they had these back then, but it's a NGKR. Actually the same spark plugs I have in the Midget. These are XR5 V-Power, whatever that means. Made in Japan. See, these are, yeah, these are obviously American, being Champion. So, anyhow, let's see. I gapped it. Alright, I figured actually before I dig into the spark plugs, I'm gonna change the plug wires. So just remember, a bit of a trick, if you're taking it off the spark plug and the cap, try and copy it onto the new cap with the new one. So this is our coil. That one is pretty straightforward. Yeah, that one's rather straightforward. So here's our coil wire set into place, and then next, so this is spark plug number 1 for cylinder number 1, which would make sense. Ooh, it's a little rotten. There we go. Okay, this is plug 1. So now we have to chase the plug wires and see if they match the length. So look at that, right out of the box, it's the same length. I did not plan that, I swear to God. Nice. I've already got one plug changed, so it'll be simple. Get out of there. Wait, what am I doing? Okay, so sometimes the new cap will say where the number 1 cylinder is. This one does, so we're gonna put it on spot number 1 and then chase it down to where it's supposed to go. If that works, that'll be good. Okay, now I think I'm trying to remember the firing order on this, but so this will be, give me a second, I'm going to research this and then I'll get back to you and tell you what spark plug is what. Okay, so we figured out our firing order. It's the same as a small block Chevy, big block Mopar, which is 18436572. So if you figure out where number 1 goes, so this is number 1, it's marked, but if you want to double check, get your compression gauge out, put it in your number 1 cylinder, and bump the engine until it's on compression. Then it'll, if the rotor is pointing at, usually it points towards the cylinder of which is number 1. So just figure out where it's pointing and then you'll point at on the cap. Now that's not a good go-to, but it is a baseline. So this cap is labeled as 1. So I believe this engine, it'll spin clockwise. So 1, 8, 4, 3. This will be number 3 spark plug right here. So that is how we'll know where number 3 spark plug wire will go. So anyhow, there you go. I hope I helped. I'm gonna keep poking away at this, and I'll get back to you. All right, everyone. If you want to have a look down in there, I got new plug wires, new plugs. I put Champion plugs on it. I tried to make the wires look as pretty as I could, but it's kind of a spaghetti mess right now. But yeah, she's pretty well good to go. Now let's fire it up and see what happens. Just keep it rolling. I'll cut it. Just keep staring at it. Have a bit of an exhaust leak on the manifold. I think the gasket's starting to blow out, but that might also be causing the hesitation. Also the timing could be out. I'm gonna have a look at that, but she hasn't ran in forever, so I call that a success. We still got a little bit more to do. Ready? So, yeah, we got a little bit more to do. I kind of gave the carburetor a half-assed rebuild because I ordered the wrong parts. I ordered them, like I say, years ago, and I assumed what the carburetor was, not went by actual part numbers. So, but I'd call this a success. I mean, she's been sitting for years, and I kind of figured she'd fire up, but now she's got a clean set of plug wires, new rotor, new cap, carburetor's decent. So I guess that'll be the first stop on the resurrection of this thing. I want to get it restored. It'll be a part 2. I'm not sure how many parts there'll be to this series, I guess you'd say, but we're going to be restoring this thing, so it's going to be fun. So I hope you come along for the ride. So that's going to do it for this episode of Wolfman's Garage. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram and Facebook. Tell me what you're working on, really. We can kind of talk about it, have a good time. Well, I'll howl at you later.